table, right? A lot of new things have happened in the country, and we'll be talking about all of it today, right? So moving on, I will first be talking about the new vaccine that has been approved, the first indigenous vaccine. And then we have a festival bonanza from the Union of India, which is a cut in the excise duty. Okay, so we'll be talking about all of it today. On that note, let's dive in. So first, a brief introduction about myself. So I'm Kushagra Goyal, a graduate from National Law University, Orissa, Masters in Economics, and I have assisted students to achieve AIR 4, AIR 16 and CLAT 21. And I have also done a series about the GK section, which got 90% of the questions in the CLAT examination. And on this juncture, I want to invite all of you to my Telegram community. The Telegram community is where we notify the students about the upcoming classes, what next they need to know about, what are their doubts, how can they solve them. All of that is discussed on the Telegram channel. All right, so you can find the Telegram channel in your search box. You can use the search ID as Kushagra Goyal, the legal game, or you can find the link to that in the description box given below. I look forward to seeing all of you join me on the Telegram community to tell me about how you want to perceive the preparation for the examination. Now moving on this juncture, I also want to humbly extend an invitation to all the learners who are very serious about their preparation. See, there's a difference in those who are just there for the examination and those who actually clear it. To make that distinction, you have to be serious about your learning, and to do that you have to be in the game, right? And to be on the game, you have to be on the learners platform, as a lot of you already are. I can see all your lovely wishes on the chat box. Good morning to all of you. Good morning Vansh, good morning Muskan, happy Diwali to you. Happy Diwali Vansh. We will be beginning the plus classes post Diwali, and on the special classes I'll be taking multiple sessions for the current affairs this year. Okay, this month we'll be doing a entire series related to the preparation that you need for static GK, like all the history that you need to know. All of that we'll be doing on special classes, carrying forward the discussion about India's trade policy, all the organizations that you need to know about United Nations, all the important awards sections, all of it will be on the special classes this month. And before the Nobel Prize is awarded to people in person again, we will be doing special classes on the Nobel Prize also. So I humbly request all of you to be on the special classes. To do that, all you have to do is download the Unacademy app or go to their website and log in. If you are signing up for the very first time, it is paramount that you also do a paid subscription. Even if you are not doing that, just use the code KUSHGK to subscribe and create your ID. That will divert you directly to the content about me or the one that I have uploaded. You can find me as an educator on the Learners app also using the username KUSHGK. Okay, so find me there, find the content that you are looking for your preparation. On that note, let's dive in. Good morning Anushka, good morning to you also. So we'll be beginning first with the newspaper analysis, and then certain details about certain awards that we have to note down as part of our notes. I'll be telling you all through the PPTs. Now, before I do that, I have received certain doubts from students, so I'll address those. But one doubt that a lot of students have asked is to provide them with the PPTs, especially of the newspaper analysis. So all of that, I have been compiling it. We'll be putting it out on a Drive link. The link to that will be given in the Telegram group. It will be shared there once the notes are there. Okay. Now this is why I invite students to the special classes, because there I don't have to additionally provide notes. The notes are already there. You can just, the moment class gets over, you can download them. All right. But we'll be doing that too, so don't worry. One doubt that I got from students was related to the Henley Passport Index. That what is the Henley Passport Index, sir? Now, the Henley Passport Index or the Henley Index this year has been topped by Japan. Okay, India's ranking this year has slipped. Okay, what does this mean? It means that people who or those who hold the Japanese passport have the strongest passport. That means any citizen of Japan or someone who has a Japanese passport has access to the highest number of countries without a visa. They can apply for visa on arrival or can travel to multiple countries without a visa per se. That is the beauty of the Japanese passport. It is the strongest. So the stronger your passport, the better are your chances of visa application or you traveling. You don't have to apply for visa. Trust me, the hassle of getting a visa is a huge thing. When I had gone to Oxford University to represent India, I had to get in touch with our late External Affairs Minister, Ms. Sushma Swaraj, to actually get my visa through on time. So it's a big hassle. So if you get your visa on time, that's an amazing thing. And if you don't have to get a visa, that's even wonderful. That's why countries strive to get a better reputation of themselves. So the Henley Passport Index tracks exactly that. Okay, so Japan has the strongest passport this year. Moving on, so I hope this addresses your doubt. Another doubt that I also got was related. So one was, when will I start the revision series for the previous months? Okay, so I have told students that, see, this is the time period that you need to acquire new knowledge. For example, if we are going to discuss about different votes that have taken place at UN organizations. Now, for a lot of you who are starting out right now, this is the time to actually acquire information. I may be able to tell you about an award, but the retention value of that award will be very low if your base is not sound. So I had told students that November is not the time to revise things. Okay, but late November, once we are there, and early December is the ideal time to start revising things, because this month we'll be building up your foundation. I'll be taking up all the relevant organizations, all the summits, everything collectively, and then in the month of December onwards we will start with our revision series from the previous year, previous months, prior to the CLAT examination. We know CLAT follows a 12-month cycle, so therefore the questions related to the month of April 2021, May 21, June, July, August, all of them also will be part of your exam preparation. So all of that, December onwards we'll be doing that series. Okay, then another doubt that I have got is related to the importance of the global financial stability. Now see, certain things are generally happening. Okay, doesn't mean all of them are exam related. Similarly is the coal crisis. Now the coal shortage is something that our government has officially stated is not there. It is a policy analysis. Okay, we will not get questions related to policy judgment. Okay, policy judgment is not our forte for exam. Okay, this is not the type of questions that we will get. Policy analysis. Had the union government done a centralized procurement of vaccines at the very beginning from January, we would have done better in vaccination. The hassle of going to Supreme Court could have been avoided. All of this, that is there, but it is not something that we have to prepare from an examination point of view. Okay, so that's the doubts. I keep telling students that tell me your doubts in the Telegram app, comment it on the videos, and then I will address them the next day. Okay, so now let's dive in. All right. Okay, so moving on with the first big headline is the reduction of excise duty on petrol and diesel by 10. Okay, now there is a chart already of what is the cost. Okay, so the base price of petrol and diesel in the country right now is 47 and 49. Okay, above that is the excise duty. Now excise duty, इसके अंदर समझने की क्या बात है, दिस इज सेंट्रल टैक्स. ठीक है, ये सेंटर और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कलेक्ट करती है. ठीक है, GOI. ऑलराइट, देन उसके ऊपर देयर इज अ डीलर रेट एंड देन देयर इज अ वैट विच इज वैल्यू एडेड. सो वैट इज कलेक्टेड बाय स्टेट्स और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. ओके, अब दिस वैल्यू विल डिफर एट ईच एंड every state. Each state, for example Rajasthan or northeastern states, will collect far more because they are far away from where the petrol is actually imported from. Okay, so this is a difference that is there. Within excise duty there is a distinction. ये excise duty में there is certain cess. ठीक है, cess is not part of our overall tax pool. मतलब a cess is something central government does not have to share with the state governments. So if there is any tax right now, 40 to 41% of it is given to the states. State government को वो दे दिया जाता है. But if there is a cess is something that the central government keeps for itself. It is not part of the revenue pool that has to be shared with the states. So हमें क्या बात रखनी है, हमें rate से मतलब नहीं है. We don't have to bother about the rate. We have to understand the nature of each of these. Okay, so cess not shared with states. Central government excise duty and state governments value added tax. There has been debate this year about inclusion of petrol in GST. ठीक है, if you compare right now the base price of petrol is around, let's say, 50 rupees. Okay, if it is 50 also, उसके ऊपर there is plus 32 plus 25, right? This percentage of tax is the highest, right? Our total percentage of tax is 50%. So 50% taxes plus 50% is the cost. If all of this, if this is brought under GST, goods and services tax, this will reduce the maximum tax percentage to 28%. So from 50% it will come down to 28%. That is the thing that a lot of policy makers have been calling for, कि ये हो जाना चाहिए. ऑलराइट, सो बट अभी तक हुआ नहीं है, तो हमें उससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. वी डोंट हैव टू बॉदर अबाउट इट राइट नाउ, बट दिस इज द पॉलिसी डिबेट. ये बात जरूर समझने की है कि सेस कहाँ लगता है और एक्साइज ड्यूटी कहाँ लगता है और वो कौन कलेक्ट करता है, हु कलेक्ट्स देम. ओके, then on the right hand side is the approval of Covaxin by WHO. This has been long pending. Okay, since the month of April, May, it had been pending. Bharat Biotech. So what do we have to remember from this? First things, okay, the name of the vaccine, organization, what has been done, emergency use approval license. What does this do? This means that now this vaccine can be exported to multiple countries and people who have received this vaccine dose can freely travel at multiple jurisdictions of the world. There may still be certain states which will not recognize or permit. That is something that Government of India needs to resolve bilaterally. But we need to know about Covaxin. What is Covaxin? All of that. Okay. So your notes about Covaxin will be, first, who has made Covaxin? ये चीज मैंने रिवीजन सीरीज में भी बच्चों को पढ़ाई थी और फिर ये एग्जाम में आई भी. Alright, so Covaxin has been created by Bharat Biotech India Limited, BBIL. It's a private company. Krishna Ella, the person in news is Krishna Ella. Okay, he is the chief scientist, MD also of the Bharat Biotech company. Along with it is the ICMR and the National Institute of Virology, Pune. So under ICMR is the larger organization. Unke under there are multiple institutions. The head institution regarding Covaxin has been NIV Pune. What did they do? So इसमें भारत सरकार और भारत बायोटेक का क्या पर्सपेक्टिव था? What did they contribute? So COVID-19 की कोवैक्सीन uses a SARS-CoV vaccine, मतलब it uses the inactive virus. पूरा का पूरा वायरस का जीनोम लिया गया, उसकी क्वांटिटी को कम किया गया और वो शॉट दिया जाता है किसी भी ह्यूमन बीइंग को. So that is the mechanism of Covaxin, just like polio vaccine or any other traditional method of vaccination. Okay, so this is the most traditional method. NIV was the one that created the entire genome sequencing of the SARS-CoV virus. उससे क्या हुआ? Then Bharat Biotech came up with what should be the quantity of the genome that should be given to humans. Okay, so अब 18 प्लस लोगों को emergency use authorization मिल चुका है. Okay, that is the other fact we need to know. अब the vaccine also has an official name. What is the official name? It is BBV152. This is the code name of the vaccine at WHO also. WHO के अंदर वैक्सीन का कोड नेम इज ऑल्सो BBV152. Okay, at what temperature can it be stored? It is 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. Okay, that is all right. Traffic, good afternoon to you also. So कोवैक्सीन के अंदर क्या क्या याद रखना है? Companies who have been behind its manufacturing: Bharat Biotech, NIV Pune. NIV Pune comes under ICMR. Okay, ICMR is the largest institution. उसके under there is NIV Pune. ठीक है, person in news related to it is Krishna Ella. Okay, what is the kind of vaccine? Covaxin. It is a inactivated virus cell. Okay, or viro cell. It uses a SARS-CoV vaccine. The official name is BBV152. It can be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. Then along with this, another thing that you need to know is this vaccine is totally indigenous. All right, this is the only purely indigenous vaccine right now approved by WHO. Why do I say this is the only totally indigenous? Because the Covishield vaccine was developed in Oxford and it was modified for Covishield. Okay, it was the AstraZeneca vaccine that was modified into Covishield, so it wasn't totally indigenous. This is the only totally indigenous vaccine that is being administered. Okay, approximately 11 crore people have already received this vaccine. Okay, so these are the facts related to Covaxin. Okay, so now we move on. Apart from this, on the headlines is Prime Minister's call for door-to-door vaccination. Now, door-to-door vaccination was something that the Bombay High Court had remarked way back in March itself. Okay, since March only, Bombay High Court had given a judgment to tell the union government to permit door-to-door vaccination. Okay, but that had not been approved back then because there was a huge vaccine shortage. Okay, so Prime Minister's new call is Har Ghar Tika, Ghar Ghar Tika. This was related to, for us, Bombay High Court. Okay, Bombay High Court had nudged this policy. It had asked people to go to the areas and administer the vaccines. Okay, then in slum areas of Mumbai and remote areas in hill stations and hill states, this program had already been done. Now it is being implemented in places where people are still not coming out for vaccination. Okay, so that's the key part for us to be noting. Okay, now moving on. So this is to remind that, see, tomorrow we will not have access to the newspaper. All right, we'll be having a holiday, so we will not be doing a newspaper analysis. Okay, there will be no issue of the Hindu dated November 5 will remain closed for the festival. Readers can access online edition at thehindu.com. So tomorrow no newspaper, so no newspaper analysis also. So that's the news for all of you. Now moving on the left hand side, despite bail, a long road ahead of jail. A lot of people, despite the bail, still need a lot more to be done. Then this is the other news. A Guinness World Record has been approved in Ayodhya for 9 lakh oil lamps. Diya, है ना? 9 lakh oil lamps were lighted in Ayodhya. So that's the Guinness World Book record. So that has been established. Each year Ayodhya is the city where Lord Rama is supposed to have come back. Alright, but now as all of us live everywhere, for us, we don't have to be in Ayodhya to actually feel the spirit of Diwali. Okay, apart from this, on the front page, nothing of note for us. This is the headline related to gender sensitization. Now we need to wait for NCERT to comment officially to take note of it. Okay, then moving on, nothing of note here for us. Then on the editorial page, so the left editorial is about mixed bag, bipoll results hold lesson for both politics of BJP and Congress, not important for us. Okay, then the recovery toolkit, economy recovery remains fragile, rebooting tax policy may help. What is this tax policy? Primarily reduce the taxes, high tax rate on goods of basic consumption, okay, जैसे petrol. So on the front page we saw the central government reduced excise duty on diesel by 10 rupees. Okay, by that note, for example, in 2014 the excise duty was just 3 rupees, just this much. Today the government collects almost 32, now it will come down to 22. So that's the increase since March only. Okay, since March, RBI had called for a reduction of excise. This reduction had been mooted way back in March, and it is almost November now, okay, of high fuel prices. What this does is, high fuel increase input cost. If the input of a commodity increases while the wages of the people remain same, the seller has to reduce its margin of profit. Now every seller cannot continue to sell at low prices. This can then affect or make those businesses run out of steam. So this article also calls for that, we need a stabilization and reduction of taxes to reduce input costs. Okay, apart from this, it's also policy related, so nothing of note for us. Then the other editorial here, okay, on the right hand side, is related to 5G technology, 5th generation. Okay, this is that what all can be good about 5G, how it can increase access to resources for people. Okay, but what it needs to correct is digital divide. Digital divide is the buzzword this year. Okay, that people who had access to resources were able to learn or continue to learn digitally, while those who were relying on offline resources have been left out. All of you are learning online, but some students cannot access it, right? So that's the risk that people are running. That is what digital divide is. At any point of time during the analysis, while you are watching, if you don't understand anything, put it in the chat box, put it in live chat. I will explain it once again. See, the newspaper analysis is not just me glossing over the newspaper कि ये headline important है, ये ऐसे पढ़नी चाहिए, वो बात नहीं है. It's also to explain you certain topics on a daily basis. 1 घंटा just to understand the nature of events, right? कि उनको सोचना कैसे है, that is the key part of it. So if you don't understand anything, let me know, okay? Then batting for South Asia makes more sense. What is South Asia? South Asia is all those countries that come under SAARC. South Asian region. Okay, SAARC से related question आया भी था 2020 के अंदर, CLAT के अंदर, right? अब उससे के बाद this article is saying कि climate change की बात इंडिया अलग से करे वो बेमानी है. It doesn't make much sense if the overall region is the one that is still not aligned to each other. We cannot save ourselves, right, if the region around us is polluting. For example, if the Hindu Kush mountains by Pakistan and Afghanistan are heating up, snow is melting from there, हम कितनी भी industries बंद कर लें, we will not be able to save ourselves from an environmental disaster. Similarly, हम कितना भी environment protection कर लें, और if we don't do it, howsoever much Bangladesh or Sri Lanka may do, it will not be enough, right? So we cannot do it in isolation. This article calls that, see, all the countries are collectively working. EU, ASEAN, American countries, Latin American countries, all of them are collectively doing, African nations. South Asia is an outlier. हम आपस में कोई बात ही नहीं कर रहे इस बारे में. We, for example, can terrorism survive climate change? No. But so even then, India and Pakistan have had no conversation. Yesterday only, Pakistan shut its airspace for flights from Srinagar to Sharjah. So all of this makes no sense. Now the flight will travel far more distance, consume far more carbon, increasing carbon footprint. So if you are committed to a certain thing, you have to collectively do it. So the article states that the first key part of climate change is SAARC nations need to come together. It talked about how, so these passages are about certain initiatives that have already been done. Recovery toolkit 5G leap is important to read. No, it is not. Okay. Yes, Trasik, that's the full form. Okay. Now moving on. So this passages that I have highlighted. Okay. ये article आपको पढ़ना ही पढ़ना है. इसमें क्या पढ़ना है, इसमें से notes क्या बनाने हैं, वो मैंने highlight किया है. Okay. So first is about India's things that India has announced that it will be doing for climate change. So first is International Solar Alliance, उसके बारे में सबको पता है. Then yesterday we talked about Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. This is part areas that are in hilly regions or the ones that are prone to cyclonic storms. So they need to be done better. So that is a resilient infrastructure. Okay. उसके बाद our Prime Minister yesterday announced a dedicated infrastructure for resilient island states. That ISRO will come up with the specific data to cover effects of climate change for these small island nations in the Pacific region, right? So this was something that was announced by our Prime Minister. So 3 initiatives. तो आपको उन तीनों initiative को note करना है. Conference of Parties UNFCCC के बारे में आपको already पता है. ठीक है. Then it points out one of the fact कि 2014 के बाद से SAARC का कोई summit हो नहीं पाया है. Okay, so since 2014 no summit of SAARC has actually taken place because of India's continuous call that Pakistan needs to stop supporting terrorism to actually call for cooperation. There cannot be cooperation while you are killing our people. Fair enough stand, nothing wrong in that. But what it has generally done is also reduced cooperation in other forums such as Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal group. So India has thought, okay, Western front पे कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, let's focus on East. But then in Eastern front also things are not that great. So in 2019, our Prime Minister's second oath taking ceremony, all the members of BIMSTEC were invited. Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technique and Economic Cooperation. Last year, BIMSTEC came out with its final motto mandate, okay, but it still does not have any specific program of how it is cooperating on climate change. So that's the criticism here pointed out, okay. इस पैसेज में उस विषय के ऊपर बात करी गई है. उसके बाद then impact of climate change. So this part of the passage then says कि देखो, India and Afghanistan have been one of the top 2 countries in the world to be affected by climate change. So we are at a high risk region. Most of the cyclonic storms have happened in Bay of Bengal. Some have hit Bangladesh. If the Bay of Bengal is unstable, then there is a risk to Sri Lanka also. The fish quantity there will keep on dying. Then lastly, it points out that how South Asian economies will lose 11% of their GDP because of climate change, okay. And by 2050, there will be 63 million climate migrants in South Asia. अब मान लीजिए अगर आपके पास AC नहीं है in Rajasthan, right, or in Jaisalmer, today temperatures hit there during peak summers at 60 degrees Celsius. If you don't have air conditioning or fan, there is no way that you can live in that area. बिना electricity, fan के, you cannot live in such temperatures, right? Without food supplies, you cannot live. इतनी temperature के अंदर कौन सी सब्जी उग सकती है, right? How much water can you store? So those are the risks. So people will slowly become migrant. गर्मियों में एक जगह रहेंगे, सर्दियों में एक जगह रहेंगे. So all those risks have been pointed out, okay. So cost of climate inaction, displacement and distress migration. This is a name of a report, okay. What is the name of the report? Cost of climate inaction, displacement and distress migration. ठीक है. Then this is a bug in their app, in Adobe's app. If you zoom out, it suddenly takes you all the way back up. So yeah, all right. Okay, then the other drawbacks. The other drawback is China. So last part of this passage is all that China's problem. A lot of things, see, China is not serious about climate change, okay. They believe that climate change is a gimmick to stop the Chinese dragon's arrival. That's one of the theories of the Communist Party of China, कि climate change कुछ नहीं है, western concept है to stop the progress of Chinese economy. They are so fearful of us, they want to stop. And most of the investment projects that China does, so this article also says that, see, most of the development that China sponsors in these countries is climate unstable or causes damage to the environment, जो कि एकदम विपरीत बात है. All of it is completely opposite to how construction is happening. Last year, Delhi High Court passed a judgment which called that you have to recycle road material and use that, which will reduce the carbon footprint of making roads by 40%. अभी क्या होता है, आपके यहाँ अगर कोई सड़क है उसमें गड्ढे हैं, they will build a new road above it. कुछ सालों बाद उसके ऊपर एक और रोड, उसके ऊपर एक और रोड, उसके ऊपर एक और रोड. But that is what increases carbon footprint. अब क्या तरीका है? If there is a damaged road, उसको उखाड़ो, उस मटेरियल को रिसाइकल करो, वापस से lay it down there only. Okay, so that is what has now been mandated in most of the countries and most part of India also. But the way China develops and calls for development in these countries through BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, that is not stable towards the environment. So that is the risk, okay. No, we don't have to know more about that report, okay. अभी इतना ही important है, right. उसके अलावा, so now we move on. अब there are 2-3 judgments in an editorial that is important, okay. So इस editorial में यही बात है, there is nothing more to add to it. If you want to read, you can read, but you have to make notes about those specific things. The 3 things: initiative of India, plus the name of the organization and their full forms. That's all. Okay, now moving on to the editorial. Right. On the right hand side, a court order for the ages, Pegasus verdict. This is, I have highlighted to tell you that, see, we have already covered the Pegasus judgment in 2 videos. Okay, the detailed explanation part of the Pegasus judgment is on the YouTube channel or the Legal Game. Please, if you have not watched it, go and watch it and make your notes. It is one of the most important judgments. उससे सवाल बनेगा, लीगल रीजनिंग में बने, लीगल जीके में बने या जीके में बने, क्वेश्चन आएगा. ओके, सो प्लीज डू वॉच इट. ओके, उसके अलावा दैट इज व्हाई आई हैव हाईलाइटेड. द एडिटोरियल इन जनरल टॉक्स अबाउट द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ इट. It talks about the Puttaswamy judgment, which I have talked about in the Pegasus one. On the left hand side is on dealing with false criminal cases. So R.K. Vij, a former IPS officer, he has talked about what we can do with false criminal cases. False criminal case क्या होता है? मान लीजिए आपको मुझे परेशान करना है. So let's say you bring up a sexual harassment case against me कि Kushagra sir had sexually harassed me. This would derail me for a couple of years, maybe destroy my entire life or my entire lifetime. So this can happen. The second is certain other cases, dowry deaths or damage to a woman's modesty, outraging the modesty of a woman, or related to SC and ST Act, which is a special case. So the left hand side, he picks up certain offenses which are usually seen to be misused by those. And so what happens is there are certain people who know the law too much and they will misuse it. To misuse a law, you need to know everything about it. The laws were made keeping an eye on the disadvantaged, not the exceptional ones who know the law more than the state also. But उससे किसी का डैमेज होता है. If one person is also damaged, their fundamental rights are violated. So courts need to take notice. So what had the court done in a case of Rajesh Sharma versus State of Uttar Pradesh? Okay, and another judgment, Social Action Forum for Manav Adhikar versus Union of India. In both these cases, the court had stated that, see, a preliminary inquiry should be done before arresting people. In 498A and SC/ST Act, a person can directly be arrested and then the inquiry will go on. Certain people will misuse it to put someone who is not aligned with you, you're a political opponent of them, to put them behind bars, right? So all of that is a risk that is pointed out in this article. So those were the 2 judgments जिसमें कहा था preliminary inquiry होनी चाहिए. Then in 2019 came the judgment of Union of India versus State of Maharashtra. State of Maharashtra went to the Supreme Court, told that, sir, just because certain people misuse the law, the purpose of the law is not defeated. The purpose of the law was to keep these things so stringent, to keep people away from casually remarking casteist slur, right? So to avoid all of that, this was strengthened, or this law was created. So don't dilute it. So Supreme Court took that into cognizance and reversed its judgments. Okay, so now at the next part of the article, it talks about the case of Arnish Kumar versus State of Bihar. इस केस के अंदर Supreme Court had laid down certain guidelines before an arrest of a person is carried out. So the article says कि those guidelines should be kept. When you all will study CRPC in law schools, you will know about all those guidelines. Abhi we don't have to note all of them. Okay, we just need to be aware of the mandate. So Union of India versus State of Maharashtra 2019 judgment states automatic arrest is a protection under SC/ST Act and will continue. So Supreme Court reversed it 2017 and 2018 judgment in 2019 to bring back that protection. Okay, उसके अलावा Congress sweep and alarm for BJP, not important. This data point then highlights the job losses happening in the economy. Then on the right hand side, Palestinian Prime Minister calls for Indian support. This is state of Palestine, which is the authority created. We have spoken about the Israel-Palestine dispute on the legal game. I have covered it. The other part of it is left, which we will carry on post Diwali, which is the politics of Israel and Palestine. In that regard, Mohammad Shataye, who is the current Prime Minister of State of Palestine, which is an observer state under UN, but not a totally sovereign independent state. Okay, this one. So he also met our Indian Prime Minister on the sidelines of COP, just like the Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. And he stated that Indian support is needed for Palestinians. Prime Minister Modi had also visited Palestine in 2018. More and more India has aligned with Israel recently for our security purposes, but democratically, on a principle point of view, we support a two-state solution, that there should be an independent state of Palestine. So this is a news that brings or keeps Israel-Palestine in an important note. So more notes about WHO. I have already pointed out everything that is important. So just to highlight that you need to know about this headline. Then moving on, nothing to note. Then on the right hand side, so one teenager like your age, Vinisha Uma Shankar, spoke at the COP, just like she's the local Greta Thunberg of us, like us. She was invited at COP and spoke in front of our Prime Minister, US President, British Prime Minister about a technology. What did she do? A lot of us have seen कि कोयले से press, right? A lot, the old way of ironing was to use coal in your irons. You would burn coal, heat up the metal and iron your clothes. She realized that, see, this is not something that should be done. So she made a solar powered iron for the downtrodden who do the laundry and ironing business, for which she has been awarded the Children's Climate Change Prize in November 21. That is why she was there. Okay, she was invited principally because of that. Okay, then she's also a front runner, one of the finalists for the Earthshot Prize. Okay, so why was she there? She won the Children's Climate Prize in November 21. Okay, and she is one of the finalists for the Earthshot Prize. She's a 15-year-old Vinisha Uma Shankar. She talked about why the young generation should be agitated. See, all of us, we are stakeholders of the future. Climate change is an issue important for us beyond our examinations. Exam clear ho, nahi ho, kuch bhi ho, climate change is something that will affect all of you in the colleges that you are, right? So it's an important part for us. On international news, US puts Israeli maker Pegasus spyware on blacklist. The NSO group and the software that is used to incriminate people democratically or to curb democratic speech has been blocked by US. So no company in US or agency in US can ever purchase the Pegasus spyware. So that's the news. Apart from it, nothing to note. Sport wise, we have two important news to note. So first, Rahul Dravid, a former cricketer of Indian men's team, is now the head coach of India. So he'll be taking over for 2 years. He is formerly a coach of the under-19 team and the National Cricket Academy. Then the main news is the Khel Ratna Award. This year the Khel Ratna Award, which was earlier Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, was changed to Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award. So the list of awardees has been given. Along with it comes the Dronacharya Award, which is given to coaches. There is the Arjuna Award, which is given to upcoming talents. But for us, the most important one is the Khel Ratna Award. Until 2016, okay, until 2016, usually the prize was given to 1 or 2 athletes in a year. Since then, it has been given to multiple athletes, okay. So this year, again, there is a huge list of athletes who have been given. So you all need to keep a note of all of them, okay, right. So this article is important. First is Neeraj Chopra, javelin thrower, gold medalist at Indian Olympics. Ravi Kumar, wrestling, silver medalist. Livlina Borgohain, boxing, silver medalist. PR Srijesh and Manpreet Singh, bronze medalist at the Olympics. Okay, Avni Likhara and Manish Narwal, both Paralympians, won award this year. Sumit Antil, para-athlete. Pramod Bhagat, Krishna Nagar, all of them Para-Olympians, one medalist in the Paralympics this year. Then Mithali Raj and Sunil Chhetri. Sunil Chhetri has become the first footballer of India to actually win the Khel Ratna award. Until now, no footballer in India had actually won this award. So he has become the first one. Now certain static info about this that you all need to know. One second. Alright, so something has happened to that slide. So the award was first created in 1992. Okay, Vishwanathan Anand, Grandmaster, he was given the award. He was the first awardee. So Vishwanathan Anand. The award is given by the Union Sports Ministry, so Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports by Government of India. What do you win when you win the award? You win 25 lakh rupees. Okay, that's the cash prize. It is given to anyone for excellence in sport. Nothing, no other categorization. Excellence in sport. If you excel in your particular sport, you are eligible for the Khel Ratna award. This year it has been renamed to Major Dhyan Chand, hockey legend of India. Alright, the first awardee was Vishwanathan Anand in 1992. That is when the award was first given. You are eligible for 25 lakh of cash prize. Okay, so on that note, we will conclude the session. Alright, if you have any doubts, now is your time to ask. Okay, so if you have doubts, let me know. Otherwise, today's newspaper, the most important news is Covaxin. Okay, then about Khel Ratna award. उसके बाद then Palestine. So Israel-Palestine issue. And for all those who have not revised the Pegasus judgment, ठीक है, today is your time to go and do that. आप वीडियो देखिए Pegasus का, उसमें से notes बनाइए, and on 7th when we will meet, you will ask me all the questions. Okay? नो आज कुछ उस आर्टिकल के अंदर पेगासस से रिलेटेड कुछ नोट करने का नहीं है. फॉर दोज हु हैव वॉच्ड द वीडियो, यू ऑलरेडी नो पेगासस जजमेंट में क्या है, क्या क्या नोट करना है. जिन्होंने नहीं देखा है, दे हैव टू गो एंड वॉच इट एंड मेक देयर नोट्स फ्रॉम देयर. ओके, सो पेगासस रिलेटेड आई विल वंस अगेन शेयर द लिंक इन द टेलीग्राम ग्रुप. इफ यू हैव नॉट जॉइन्ड द टेलीग्राम ग्रुप, now is your time to join it. Okay, so please do watch the Pegasus judgment episode on the YouTube channel. Okay, Covaxin, Khel Ratna award, all the awardees, principal among them is Neeraj Chopra, first gold medal, the only gold medalist in India this year, first in athletics. Okay, that is why one of an important shining light. And Sunil Chhetri, the first footballer to be awarded the award. Okay, so that's also very important highlight news. Okay, then Israel-Palestine dispute, NSO group being banned, blacklisted in US. Alright, that is one important news. And apart from it, on the editorial section, so related to BBIN, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, and BIMSTEC. Okay, their names, all that. So that editorial you have to read. वो editorial पढ़ना important है. Okay, today's main editorial is important for you all to keep an eye कि ये organizations important है हमारे लिए. ठीक है, so that's the key in the newspaper today. All right, may migrate due to submerge their place permanently, also climate migrants. Yes, Trasik. Those people who are under the risk that their place may become inundated with sea water, या वो डूब जाएगी समुद्र के पानी के लेवल इंक्रीज होने से, if they also move, they are also climate migrants. Okay, they are climate migrants. So if you are living in Mumbai and you feel that in future either Mumbai will run out of water or it will get submerged underwater and you move to, let's say, Pune, then you are a climate migrant too. Okay, 498 of IPC, that is dowry deaths, okay, or extortion related to dowry, that is the section related to that. Okay, उसके अंदर उस article से related all we need to know is Supreme Court has retained automatic arrest in cases of ST/SC Act violation or 498A because it's an exceptional protection provided. Okay, so on that note, I will be concluding the session. Once again, a very happy Diwali to all of you. And before we leave, if you are not one of those who are on the Learners app, it's a humble invitation to be there. One of the features is the live quiz where you can participate in quiz or start your own, and information about the weekly T20 test. Before you conclude your day of studies, do give the weekly T20 test for the day. Okay, and if you encounter any bugs, please report them to the app. Use the form given in the description box. And if you're looking for specific batch to enroll yourself, you can do Easy Legal, which begins on 3rd November for CLAT 2022. Let's Crack Law 1.0, which begins on 5th November, English Hindi. Alright, and then there is Aim High for CLAT 2022. It began on 1st November. Okay, on that note, thank you so much. Happy Diwali to all of you and all your family members. Keep striving for betterment. हमारा real celebration CLAT clear होने या कोई भी entrance exam clear होने से ही होगा. So in middle of all of it, the festivals will come and go, but our target is the examination. Alright, so if you like the video also, give it a thumbs up. Continue studying. That's your key until you clear the exam, right? That's the only target that you are focusing on this year. On that note, thank you so much. Happy Diwali to all of you once again. See you on 7th now. Okay, 2 days we'll be taking leave for Diwali break. Okay, on that note, thank you so much. See you. Bye bye.